In today's video, we're going to talk a little bit about the most innovative pedal companies, at least the ones that I've had my hands on. Now, there's plenty of unique pedal companies out there, but a lot of the stuff you see on YouTube is generally the same kind of stuff. You know, a lot of brands will make their own version of a tube screamer. They'll make their own version of a Marshall in a box, and there's only a few companies who take that idea and turn it into something unique and interesting. So we're going to talk about those pedal companies in this video. This video comes from hands-on experience, but clearly I haven't tried everything. So if you think I've missed a brand or something that you think is really innovative in the space, let us know in the comment section and I'll pin the most relevant post. This is video 2 in a new series of videos. If you want to watch more like it, I'll link the last episode up in the cards. All right, let's get into it. So the first brand I have to put on this list, arguably the most innovative company to come out in the last 10 years, easily would be Game Changer Audio. Now, just about every one of their effects pedals has some sort of gimmick or hook or something that makes it just that little bit different. So the first pedal that comes to mind when I think of Game Changer Audio is their Bigsby pedals. So they took a Bigsby off an electric guitar, or they didn't take it off a guitar, but they bought a Bigsby and they turned it into a foot pedal. Now this is all done with just super smart electronics. It sort of feels funny if you're used to using a wah pedal, because a wah pedal gives you a sound kind of that's familiar and fluid in both ways, but this actually works a little different. So as you push down, it will then act like you're pushing the Bigsby in, and then as it comes back up, it goes back to pitch. So it's a very different experience to, say, a typical wah pedal. It's doing something very different. Now, this particular effects pedal has a whole bunch of cool stuff in it. You could get tremolo out of it. You could get like a doubling chorus effect and a whole bunch of really cool sounds out of it. I just think they make some of the most unique stuff out there. So another pedal that I've got on the channel already is their auto delay, which is this one right here. The way this pedal works is if you attack at a certain intensity or you select a note on the fretboard, the delay will kick in on that note or when it reaches the intensity threshold. And it's not always on. You know, most delay pedals sound great, but they're always on. You hit one note soft, it's going to repeat. You hit a hard note, it's going to repeat. They've set this up in a very different way, and you can also kind of like patch bay these pedals across to others in the line, like their chorus or reverb effect as well. So these are cool. The last of the Game Changer effects that really stood out was their plasma coil, I think it was called, which had this sort of like electricity bolt in the middle. It was a crazy fuzz pedal, but not only are their pedals innovative in terms of what they can do sonically, but they're just a point of difference from everything else. So I'm going to give them the top spot when it comes to innovation. This next pedal company is out of Greece, and if you know the channel, you know I've been saying for years that the Greeks are making some of the best pedals I've ever tested, and this is no exception. So Crazy Tube Circuits makes a range of real spring reverb pedals that also incorporate tremolo and other modulation effects. And the one in particular I'm going to talk about now is the White Whale. Now, to my knowledge, this comes in two different variations. There's a red version and the new blue version, and the blue version is one of the best 2-in-1 combination pedals I've ever tested. I actually put it as pedal of the year last year because it's so good. Now this gives you a real spring reverb. You open it up, there's a spring reverb tank in there, but it's not that big as well, which is great. But in combination with the harmonic tremolo that's built into it, you can just get some beautiful sounding tones out of this thing, and it's an absolute replacement to an amplifier that might have an effects loop and a broken spring reverb. It is really something special. The White Whale actually has 3 reverb coils in there and allows you to select between a short, medium, and long effect when it comes to the reverb. So whether you're playing surf, you're playing blues, you might be doing some country stuff, whatever, you can find a reverb that actually works really well. This is by far the best reverb tone I've ever heard, and I've never seen another pedal like it. I'm sure there's probably a few out there, but nothing that's as simple to use as this, which is also one of the reasons why I'm putting Crazy Tube Circuits in here. I've tested so many of their pedals over the last 5 or 6 years or so, however long it's been, and you can set everything up straight. 12 o'clock on their drive pedals, all that kind of stuff, and it works. You don't have to fiddle around with it like you do with other brands that have all of these controls, but no good starting tone. I love the fact they'll take something like a Marshall in a box and pair it with a booster in the same 2-in-1 pedal and give you something different to just your standard Marshall in a box. They're really doing some great stuff, but the White Whale pedal really put these guys on the map as just producing some of the most unique and interesting pedals. And if you haven't heard that or seen it, I'll link to my review down in the description box. Over to jam pedals, which I'm going to put in the 3rd position here. Now, I've been fortunate enough to test out so many pedals that have been made in Greece over the last few years, And there's nothing more uniquely identifiable than the jam pedals. They're all hand painted. They have such a great look to them. And if you haven't seen any of my reviews on these pedals, definitely check it out. I'll try and leave a playlist down below. But they have a few just standout pedals when it comes to its functionality and just its uniqueness in terms of what it can do. The first pedal we're going to talk about here is the Ripley Fall. Now, this particular pedal allows you to do a whole bunch of different things that you won't find on other modulation effects, and it looks super cool. It's got like a fish on the front. And again, I really love the look of these, but it's also more about the tone. So this is one pedal that I haven't reviewed, but I've had it for a while. I actually got it right before I moved to this house. I found it just the other day. I plugged it in and went, man, this thing sounds killer. So expect a review of this coming right up. This is one of those pedals that they call the Waterfall. So it's a smooth, lush sounding chorus vibrato pedal featuring BBD chips, a two-way toggle switch that can select between chorus and vibrato modes. And it also allows you to switch to like a wetter effect. And it will also give you the ripple effect, which will bring in a transparent two-stage phaser pedal. So this is combining a bunch of different effects into a single modulation pedal. I only have one small complaint with this. I would have much preferred top-mounted jacks on it just for the sake of a pedal board. But it really gives you such a unique sound. You know, modulation pedals are all, people are all stuck still in 2025 using just straight up chorus or straight up tremolo, which is fine. I love those effects as well. Well, not chorus so much, but it's great having something that brings a different flavor to the mix. This particular pedal from Jam Pedals really ticks a lot of boxes when it comes to just being unique and different. I haven't tested another pedal that does what this particular pedal can do, so they get the big thumbs up. While these pedals won't be aesthetically what everybody likes, I absolutely love what they're doing. You used to see me in a Dalai Lama t-shirt, which is one of their effects, and yeah, I really love what they've got. You know, I've tested out the Harmonious Monk pedal, which is a harmonic and amplitude tremolo pedal, and again, it's bringing a different flavor. Rather than just releasing a tremolo pedal, it does something very different. The thing with jam pedals is if you're looking for something different that might incorporate two separate styles of effects that you can either use independently or stack them together in some cases, these guys really do it right. And again, visually, they're just in a whole different league. Yeah, the Greeks, man, they're making some killer stuff. And jam pedals, again, make it onto the list. No list of unique pedal companies would be complete without mentioning Chase Bliss Audio. Now, my experience with this pedal company is somewhat limited. I've only actually tested them out if friends have owned them in the past. So shout out to Dom if you're watching this one. But I had to put this in because they've got a lot of pedals that are just doing very different things. Now, some people, including myself, might find some of these a little too complicated in terms of how many controls and switches there are. Most of them have 6 potentiometers, 3 or more switches as well. But there's some I want to focus on today that have some automation, and that's the Preamp Mark II and also the CXM1978. And these are cool. What it allows you to do is essentially dial in a sound that you like. The sliders will be saved in their position. That's kind of like the how to get the sound out of the pedal. And then you can essentially turn it off, turn it back on, and as you switch effects that you save, all of the sliders will move. You know, again, is it necessary? Probably not, but is it unique and interesting? Absolutely. But these pedals are kind of up there when it comes to the price. Some of these are out of my price range, you know. There's a lot of higher end pedals in this list, but it comes down to the fact that a lot of these boutique companies are actually the innovators, and then other people will start making copies of copies of copies, and all of a sudden you can buy them for $30. But it's great to see innovation from the top down, at least anyway. And if you can usually wait, you can find a bargain, but that's a story for another day. Another pedal to make mention of here is the Lossy, and this essentially downsamples or downgrades your audio signal. So it'd be like streaming music on a 56K modem or MP3 ripped from a CDR. So you're basically trying to downscale your audio quality to something else. And you might say, why would you want that? Because these are very different pedals. They're not the same old pedals doing the same old stuff. And sure, this might be a hyper niche kind of product, but they have lots of different stuff as well. I just thought it was worth sharing this with you because this is one of those pedals that, you know, I would love to showcase at some point on the channel. I haven't had my hands on it in a review capacity, but it's great to see some different stuff out there that will appeal to people who are looking a little bit outside of the standard box. All right, the last pedal company I'm putting on this list has to be Earthquake Devices. Now, I saw these guys at the Melbourne Guitar Show recently. and I got chatting to the guy at the booth, and I said, man, one of the things I can appreciate about your pedals are they're just a little bit different, sometimes a little bit wacky. He goes, yeah, but we've also got like lots of standard stuff. I said, yeah, I kind of forgot about that because I'm so used to pedals from them that are doing something different. So I think if I had to sort of pick a couple of pedals from their range that I've had my hands on and that I think most people would know, they've got one called the Organizer, which is kind of like a POG. If you know what the POG does, it changes your guitar signal into like a Hammond organ or a synth or whatever you want to call it, right? So it can do a lot of different sounds, sort of churchy organs, all that kind of stuff. It's killer. So the Organizer does basically that. Now, I reviewed that at a time where I don't think I fully understood how to get the most out of it. I would love to revisit that pedal again at some point in the future because, you know, having an organ effect or a keyboard effect sometimes at a gig is kind of fun, or just for layering up things without actually needing a keyboard. My playing's changed a lot over the years, and I would love to give that another shot. The second one I think most people might remember from my channel many years ago is the Acapulco Gold, and this is a power amp distortion. This has one big control on the front, and it just gets ridiculously loud. They make great stuff like this where you've got a single control and you're done. It's like one big master output volume, and it basically replicates that of a crank tube amp, and I know a lot of pedals do that, but find another one with one control. Yeah, I would have to put Earthquaker Devices on this list just because of the enormity of their range, and again, they're doing things that are very different. The only other company I can kind of put into this category that are making really unique and just different sounding pedals would be Death by Audio, which is a crazy name for a pedal company, but they make a pedal called the Robot, and that's the craziest pedal I ever got to check out. And don't go searching for it, by the way, it's a terrible video, but man, it was the most hilarious thing I've ever used in my entire journey making videos. It was crazy. But so there you have it. That's my list for the most unique pedal companies. What I'm going to do in a follow-up video is talk about the most usable effects. That's two different things, right? Uniqueness doesn't always come with simplicity, and usability is something that I value more than complicated pedals and effects with too many options that give you option paralysis, or you might not even be able to dial in a good sound. So I'm going to talk about the stuff that I actually use and some of the stuff that I just prefer and why in a future video. Now, leave your comments below. Let us know if I've missed maybe one of the most innovative pedal companies on this list. I didn't want to talk about digital effects either. I might save that up for some other video in the future, but I think these pedals are pretty wild. And again, let us know what you think in the comment section, and I will catch you on the next one. See ya.